guys, welcome to the preview of Slovan Bratislava and Shamrock Rovers in the first round of the Champions League. Philip, our resident Shamrock Rovers fan, is here. Are you excited about this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's, do you know what I mean? It's a big game. Like, obviously, it's huge for us. So yeah, I'm nervous and excited. Like, you know yourself, it's such a big game. So yeah.
You could have got an easier draw, though, to be fair.
Yeah, of course. Look, I suppose the other side to it is you want to be playing the top teams in Europe, like, you know, and that's just the way it is. And like we got a tough one last year with Milan, and like although it's not as big a club, as now Slava isn't a bigger club as AC, this is still going to be a really difficult game for us to get through.
It's about to say it's a bit easier than that on paper anyway, but yeah, it's a difficult time. I mean, Slovan Bratislava, they're no stranger to meeting Irish clubs. They've played St. Pat's before as well. They met Dundalk in 2019, Philip, and they beat them 4-1 on aggregate. So I'm sure they've looked at that. I know there's changes, but they've 11 internationals in their team. You know what I mean? Like when you think of 11 internationals, including Vladimir Weiss, 71 caps, 7 goals. He's 31 now. His father is manager of the team, and he has pedigree because he's managed Georgia, the national team, and the Slovakian national team at different points. Another player to watch in their team is a young striker called Strelic. He's only 20 and they've high hopes for him. But like, you're talking about the most successful club in Slovakia. They've won the most titles, but they've also won the most domestic cups as well. So like, this is definitely a challenge for Shamrock Rovers. But as you say, it's a challenge I think they should welcome because, you know, you're drawing who you're drawing against. I mean, the Milan one was brilliant last year. It just sucks that there was no fans. Once in a lifetime opportunity without going over old ground. But look, Slovan's going to be a difficult one. First leg is in Slovakia. How should Shamrock Rovers approach this one, in your opinion?
Do you know something, Keith? I think it will be, in my opinion, I think Bradley's going to go and play the game like he's played on the other game because they've done it against Milan. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I see it. I personally think now maybe we shouldn't go that way. I think we should probably try bring the game to Tallaght, make sure it's still alive coming to Tallaght Stadium. Do you know what I mean? That's the main goal, in my opinion. But the way Stephen has done it over the past couple of years, Keith, he's not afraid of any team, and that it showed last year against AC Milan. Like, we weren't played off the pitch. We played some really good football, and we had a couple of chances as well. And Donnarumma was tested a lot, like, you know. And I think if we do that against these, I don't know. I just think maybe with it not being as big a club as AC Milan, I think there probably is the potential there to be kind of, for players to be caught off guard, like, if you know what I mean, because they have a really, as you said there, as you alluded to, they've got a lot of internationals, really good quality players. So, yeah, I just think the main focus for me will be to get the game back to Tallaght with something to play for.
So you think they should go defensive and maybe try and hit in the counter-attack? Do you think that's the clever way of playing this? Or certainly at least first 20 minutes, try and suss them out, I suppose, and make sure you keep it tight, and maybe then you can work yourself into the game. It's probably the best approach, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I think, Keith. You know, I think early on, just try consolidate things, get a feel of the ball, how everyone's like feeling for the game. You know what I mean? Get settled and comfortable. Anytime I ever play a football match, if it's against a big side that you're probably not expecting to beat, it's always just try to get comfortable in the game, you know, and obviously not too comfortable. You need to kind of be at it constantly in games like this, but just get a sense of where you're at against the team you're playing. Like, you know, I think Rovers need to do that in the first 10, 15 minutes because, let's be honest, Rovers haven't been fantastic this season, even though they're top of the table, but we've discussed that. We won't go into that too much, Keith. But I suppose the other side to it is, I can't see why we wouldn't be coming into it off a really good result with a lot of confidence, you know. Like, it was the best performance against Dundalk for a long time. So I would say that it came at the perfect time for us with that result. So, yeah, just get into the game. Just try to see if you can get yourself through the first 10, 20 minutes without conceding, and then go and build something from there. If you can, if you're in a position to, you might not be able to. You might have to sit back and get to half-time, but I suppose that'll all tell out in the game.
Yeah, the thing is with Shamrock Rovers as well, Philip, they're capable of upping their performance against so-called better teams or teams as good as them. Like Dundalk, player for player, would be pretty much as good as Shamrock Rovers, if we're honest. Like, but Shamrock Rovers could really up it. Milan, for example, as well. Now, they did have Jack Byrne, who I thought was excellent today as well. So they obviously don't have him for ball retention and things like that in this game. But in terms of the midfield, how would you see the Shamrock Rovers midfield? What way would you make that up? I know it's changed a bit here and there, hasn't it?
I think he might go with. I think he's going to go with Gary O'Neill, Ronan Finn, Dylan Watts. I think that's going to be the midfield. I just think defensively they offer something more than the likes of Towell. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that's going to be something that he's going to have to. I think he's going to have to accept that he might have to sacrifice in the midfield here.
You think as well Towell's a little bit soon for him, considering he's just come in.
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe he. I don't think he'll play Mandrew. I just Book will obviously be involved, but I don't see him. Well, saying that he's one of our key players, he could start, but I don't know why. I just think maybe that this is a game where he has to change the midfield in a sense that he needs to be defensively aware. And I just think Ronan Finn, with that knowledge, do you know what I mean? He's done this before, like he's played these big games. And I think Gary O'Neill after the other night was magnificent. There's no way he does not get into the team. Everything he does is set up for this game perfectly to hold this midfield together against this strong side. So, that's where I think it might go. Maybe if was to change it, if it wasn't go with Watts, I'd say Book in there, but that would probably be what I reckon he'll go with. And I don't think it'll be too offensive, if I'm being honest, Keith.
So you're kind of suggesting more guys who can run around the park as such and close down space and all that kind of thing. I think you're right about Gary O'Neill, though, because he's the kind of glue. He's the one true holder in the team, so he has to play, and he will play. I have no doubt he will play. It's kind of more of a devil's advocate thing there. Do you think it's 3 at the back is the same way to go? I can't see him changing that, can you, to be fair?
Yeah, 100%. Well. There's no way he's changing that. That's been our bread and butter for the last 3-4 years. So, I'd say he'll stick with that. It'll be interesting to see who he goes with. I don't think the likes of Joey will play. I think he might have some sort of inclusion. But I think if I'm to go with it, again, another lad who had a brilliant game during the night. Lee Grace was magnificent against Dundalk, I thought. Him, Pico, and probably Hoare has to start. So
will be,
that's probably the makings of the back three. So, but we know how good they are defensively. So we'll expect what we get from them week in, week out. So I think that's kind of a good thing as well, that we've got someone that a back line that we're really comfortable with. I think that's something that's helped Rovers in the last 2 years, and I suppose Manus as well. He brings his own different type of style as a goalkeeper. So I'm not really too worried in that sense of a defensive part of view. I think maybe just defensively is where we might struggle.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing with a lot of these Eastern European teams as well, Philip, though, which is always a thing to worry about, often play better away from home. So it's very difficult to know what the best result here is for Shamrock Rovers. Could go there and just hypothetically get a 0-0 draw, but they could come to Tala and put 3 past Rovers and win 3-1. I've seen it so many times with our clubs in Europe where away from home they could do well. And then especially the Eastern European sides, I don't know what it is, but they're very good away from home. So it's very difficult to know what a good result is here.
Yeah, and I suppose, Keith, you're bang on the money there with the away from home thing from these Eastern European sides, because
of course we've no away goal actually now, don't we not? I'll just throw that in there before we forget. We've no away goals now. They don't count as such. Yeah,
and it's I don't think as I said, I don't think Bradley will obviously go to try win the game. That's the way he always goes to play any game. But I just don't lose this game, because if we lose this game, I think we'll be in big trouble in Tala. Do you know what I mean? I think if we get it to Tala at 0-0, it's going to be difficult still, as you said, the way these teams perform away from home. But I don't know. I just think maybe with how we can set up, I think it'll be similar to Dundalk, if you know what I mean. What happened during the night with the way they'll go attack the game at in Tala. So I just think that might suit us. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen it, as I said, we've seen it on Friday night. I just think that'd be perfect for Rovers if we could do that. Obviously different caliber of players that we're talking about here, and as you said, we tend to step up on the big occasions. I think this is probably how it's going to go, Keith. It's on such a fine line, because you know what's at stake. Getting into the next round, it's a big thing. Do you know what I mean? And a difficult side to start off, and if you can go and get a result against them, beat them, and go through, the confidence goes through the roof. You know what I mean? And we've seen it before with Dundalk when they went and got into the group stages. Like, they were blowing teams away week in, week out in the division then. Like, do you know what I mean? It just gives such good confidence, and hopefully we can do that as well.
Yeah, I think the other potential advantage I'd like to think it might be is the fact that Slovan are in pre-season. They've had a raft. I was looking at them. They've had a raft of friendlies, but you know yourself, friendlies, competitive matches, big difference. Shamrock Rovers, you know, are used to competitive matches, tight matches, close matches, hard-fought games. I'm hoping, and I'd like to think, I know they're professional and all, but there's no substitute for competitive games. Sure, there isn't.
100%. Like, you know, there's even when you're playing Sunday side football, you notice the difference between a friendly and a competitive game. So there always is more of an edge in a competitive game. And look, I suppose, as you said, I can see that being an advantage to us. Like, you know, we're smack bang nearly in the middle of the season, like, and players are, like, although we had a couple of knocks the past few weeks, we're starting to get a squad back as well, which does help, you know. So that will be another strength. I think that's why I think this game is coming at the right time again for us. But yeah, no, Keith, I completely agree with you. That will probably be a big factor come the ending of both games. You know, I think maybe the fitness may tell a factor. It's all about the quality, I suppose, as well. Do you know what I mean? If they're able to put in a quality performance for 70 minutes and get 2 or 3 goals, the game is done. So the last 20 minutes is it doesn't make any difference, like, you know. So I suppose there is a fine line between it, Keith. So it's just trying to find that balance for Rovers' sake.
Who do you think is best off playing up front? Obviously, Gaffney is probably more of a finisher than Green. But then again, these type of games, if you've seen it, Aaron Green, when he does play up top, he can spread left, he can go right, he drops deep. He's more, not necessarily more mobile, but he's more aware of spaces outside of just the central space, if you understand my point. Who are you going for there, do you think?
I think it has to be Green. I remember a few years back, we were in extra time up in, I think it was Denmark or Sweden it was. We were playing in Sweden. And he missed an absolute sitter, and I rued it because we would have went through. Absolutely rude to miss. But I always think about how he's played since. He loves stepping up to the occasion. These big games, everything about him is set up for this game. Like, he'll run his socks off all night. And, like, make no mistake, he had a couple of chances against AC Milan last year. And I think he'll get a couple of chances here on the night against these as well, because he works so hard for the team. And no matter what Rovers will do going forward, he has to be involved somewhere or another. You've seen him playing left back during the night. He can do so much. Like, you know, he's just, everything about him is what I love a footballer to do. So I hope he goes with him. I would be surprised if he goes with Gaffney, to be honest with you. I just think this game doesn't suit him the way I think Rovers will play in the game and the setup will go with. I just don't think it'll work for Gaffney. I think maybe he might come on the last 20 minutes, but Aaron Green has to start, in my opinion.
Call it. Not the tie now, the match. I won't put you in the spot there yet.
I'm going to go... Your heart's telling me we win 1-0, but I think 0-0. I think it's gonna finish 0. I just think these are gonna be really strong side, Keith. You know, we've seen what they've done. They're a big club in Slovakia, and I think as I said, we'll be lucky to get the game back to Tala. Not with something to play for. I think we'll be in the game come Tala, but I just think a 0-0 result is probably the best thing for us. Not that we can hope for, because we know how good Rovers are. We can beat any team, but just the way the season has gone, with where you've had results, just get it to Tala.
I'm going to go 1-1 personally. I think it's weird. I think 1-1 is a good result, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that necessarily means the Shamrock Rovers are going to go through. I have a weird feeling that they're going to do better in the first leg away from home. It's just one of those things. These European teams, as I mentioned before, tend to be deadly away from home. So 1-1 for me, which technically is a good result, but they may not go through at the same time. So look, Philip, cheers. Thanks for coming on. Much appreciated. Brilliant stuff as usual.
Thanks.